Yeah, because it's hard to say.
Drunk Canuck is deployed on my screen.
Oh wow! I just asked him. Just double check.
Yeah, he's in. Let's go. Could be longer than 30 seconds. I checked before I did that monologue.
All right, cool. We're in. Nice. We got it this time, everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and without,
so I can watch that.
I just PM'd him too. All right, so anyways, into the match time. They're already shooting. QQ's moving into the back of the Citadel, and CSJ is actually at the upper base.
Smurfy lied to me. That's all.
So CSJ's got the upper base, and it looks like they've got the long-range weaponry to go for the enduring long-range weaponry fight with QQ out in that back Citadel water. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, but CSJ is moving up a little bit.
Credit to QQ, this is a tonnage-based drop, so they actually brought a bunch of Hellbringers, and I think those are all going to be like Clan ER large lasers, so they're not... They brought the appropriate tools for this sort of fight, and it's going to come down to just positioning and player skill, who can get the better trades. Neither team seems to have gone for the middle point. Let me go over the loadouts quick. This is a tonnage-based drop, 450. CSJ has brought 3 Stormcrows, 2 Timberwolves, two 5-star 9Ss, and a Hellbringer. And QQ has brought 4 Hellbringers. 5 Hellbringers? Stop moving. 5 Hellbringers, a Stormcrow, and 2 Raven 2Xs.
Just watching Solitude's first-person view here. He's got a Streak 6 Stormcrow, so you could tell CSJ is kind of trying to get a little bit of mixed mechs in their drop deck. 5 Streaks is nothing to mess with, especially if you're a light mech or a medium mech. It'll rip off your arms, your torsos, whatever else you have. It'll crit you really quick unless you're an assault mech. And it looks like right now CSJ Energy... Solitude heading this push to that middle Kappa point, and looks like they're going to hole up on the opposite side of Citadel, slowly creeping up maybe to that 4 line, maybe to the 2 line. They're in a pretty weird position right now, but QQ's even in a worse position. I'm going to go into the third person and show why.
Well, the interesting thing here to note is that those Hellbringers, they're entirely Clan ER large lasers, so if they get closed in on, it's going to get rough for them quick. And percentages fairly even. Energy has taken the brunt of the damage for his side, whereas Carpenter and Monkey have split it. But damage-wise, pretty even.
Yeah, I'm surprised CSJ didn't try and take advantage of QQ being out in the water. Actually, you know what? Look at QQ's firing line.
Yeah, and CSJ's response is to get up onto the Citadel, back it off, don't try and work that D3 corner. They're going to try and spread out here. Don't know if they're going to do a drop-in push, or if they're just going to try and get multiple angles going. But QQ has shifted in response to this. They're out of the water, they're taking up positions in the lower base, and just trying to keep all their angles nice and tight, and win those trades. And I'd actually say that QQ's getting the better end of this. If I go into, like, that response for them was actually, I think, brilliant, because the Citadel position, now they can only get, like, 2 or 3 guys across on that, and getting firing lines, so they've got to all dive into, like, the middle trench here, to just kind of get their head down, let their light scout, and just figure a way out of this.
Wow, they moved straight up into that D2, C2 platform. They're shooting from the cover of the buildings. CSJ is in a much more open area right now. QQ turned this on a dime on CSJ. CSJ took... And CSJ's out in the open water right now, getting Drunk Canuck and the Hellbringer. Yeah, that's pretty brutal for Drunk.
Down, but it's going to be brutal for CSJ getting out of this water here.
That's one. That's 1 down for each team, and CSJ is at a disadvantage right now. QQ's been getting open shots the entire time. Look at the Stormcrow Nova in water, already lagged. He's a Streak 6, so that's a big part of their brawling team. The rest of these mechs with...
Solitude's coming around for a flank, and the other Streak Crow for CSJ, but he gets legged, and he's going to be focused out, I think.
Right arm critical
but Monkey and Morgan drop in quickly for QQ as well. It is even on kills, 2-2.
New target acquired.
Leo out in the back here playing... Oh, there goes Morgan for QQ as well. This is now Oh, that's 4-2
Target acquired.
in favor of
Ammo
CSJ.
at 25.
Yeah, those lights, Iron and Dario, they kind of jumped up the backside here and started assassinating things on the QQ side.
Critical.
And at this point, like, these buildings are splitting QQ up, but the focus fire isn't really happening. It's all one-to-one trades that CSJ is
Heat level
dictating.
critical.
Good as
Target
that was,
destroyed.
those
Fantastic,
lights, like the
yeah.
days,
Fantastic
really-
shots by Dario here. He's moving really smart through the QQ team, assassinating them one by one. You got that long-range firepower of Leo in the back, the rest of CSJ putting pressure with these lights, and it's just a little bit too much for QQ to handle. The lights save this for CSJ by far. That was a very smart move for them. CSJ could have lost this had they not gone and started putting pressure on QQ's flank, but great job by CSJ and QQ turning the tables back and forth there.
Definitely, and CSJ, they had brought the pair of Firestarter 9S's. QQ, they had Raven 2X's armed with triple large laser. Not really sufficient in a tight-end brawl.
Wow. Yeah, it was even at first. You thought that QQ would have maybe got more shots in. I think it seemed like you would expect them to get more shots in. Maybe the buildings were blocking them. Maybe they weren't focus firing. I'm not seeing too much focus fire from QQ. Like you were saying mid-drop, there's not a lot of organization, not a lot of solidarity between their team. They could have taken advantage of CSJ piling into the water after Drunk Canuck, and they allowed CSJ to creep up on them, their lights to sneak up on QQ's heavies, big teammates, and take them out. Interesting to see CSJ, playing as the aggressors there.
I mean, the thing to note was that QQ had committed just whole ham onto that ER large setup, and it worked it for the beginning part where they could keep that range where they rotated out. But Drunk Canuck, he dropped into the water. I'm not entirely sure why. He was in, I think, like a Stormcrow. Maybe he was just going up to get seismic up against the bottom of the Citadel. But by him going into the water, it pinned the rest of his team into place to support him, and they couldn't keep running. They couldn't keep running to get the angles they needed, so he gets pushed on. They get a good one-to-one trade, but now they're like down in the 300, 400, 500 meters where the medium laser, large pulse, Gauss, and like Firestarter loadout of CSJ is in its prime. And once all of those sort of brawlier mechs started getting split angles and one-to-one trades, that's where it falls apart for QQ.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting match to watch. I didn't think QQ would hole up behind the Citadel like that. So I'm gonna sorry, I was setting up the canvas and checking in on the contact for the match to make sure that we can launch in for the next one on time. But
yeah, I'll go over it on the canvas while you're doing that, but just confirm to me that it's up.
Yeah, okay, I cleared the
Okay, cool.
River City canvas, yeah. So
Cool, I'll take it away and give you a few minutes to get that done. Alright, well, contrary to the Smurfy scouting report, it was actually CSJ who spawned in the upper side, and they had brought the Brawler loadout. They had a Street Crow in there, they had 2 Firestarter 9S's, they had Timberwolves with medium lasers, large pulses, Gauss, all that jazz. And what QQ did to them was they rang out here, where you're past, I think it's about, that's got to be about 900, 1,000 meters. Your medium lasers, they're not going to be very effective at that range. Your large pulses, again, your Gauss are going to be hard to hit. And QQ had brought entirely, like, I think, out of 8 of their mechs, the Ravens had large lasers, a single Hellbringer had a Gauss rifle, another Hellbringer had like 3 larges and 2 mediums, and all the rest were like quad ER large. And so at this range, they were trading really effectively. They got energy down to 70%, or the esoteric. I'm not sure what the politically correct term to refer to him is now, since he's changed his name. But and they took minimal damage in return. CSJ knows they're not in a great position. They push off down here the Kappa. They try and work out this outside angle. QQ drops back deeper into the water so that they give themselves more time. CSJ says, no, we're not going to take this push. We loop around back up onto Citadel.
That was a huge surprise, too, because you'd think QQ at that point, sorry to interrupt, but in a normal situation when a team's holed up in that back area, there's a lot of ways to take advantage of it. Maybe CSJ wasn't looking at it from the right angle. Maybe that wasn't where they were looking to engage, but I think QQ had a really good firing line, you know, on like a 45-degree angle where, you know, where the bottom of that red mark you put is. I'm going to draw on there really quick.
Yep, go for it.
Like, that's where CSJ was stopped, that red bar. QQ had a firing line going straight at that opening, that, like, sort of choke point in the river. Totally prevented CSJ from going that way right off the bat. That was solid by QQ. But like you were saying, and continue on, CSJ decides right up, like, they didn't hesitate at all. They go right around the back of the Citadel. And, yeah, continue on. Sorry, I just wanted to point that out.
Commenting on that, I think the reason why they decided against it was, well, maybe they thought, like, our 9S's are going to be out of range, and if they get focused, that's a lot of our brawl potential out. And, like, same deal, like, you have Street Crows, we're looking for a shorter engage distance than, like, this 500 meters here. And they probably could have gone for it, and maybe, like, good focus fire in the initial bits, and some good, like, I want to say, dropping of aggro by the brawlers as they close in, not getting instantly focused out. Maybe they pull that off, but yeah, they drop back here. QQ's response, which I thought was actually brilliant, was pushing up into the high side of D2, and so instead of, like, the angles that CSJ were looking for were like down here, and down here, like the three different ones where you can peek and just get your own focus fire. Will not, you can't pre-aim to cover everything. That's all flipped on them, because now they've got just this narrow ramp to work with. There's no way they can bring their entire team to bear, and so they had to dive into the middle trench, I forgot what we call it, gap on Citadel.
They poured out straight into that D3 open water side right at QQ. It's like they couldn't waste any time, I don't think. They got Drunk Canuck right in the water.
Yeah, but they were in there for like 15 or 20 seconds just sort of reevaluating. And this is where I was saying at the end of the match where it kind of starts falling apart for QQ, is with Drunk Canuck going out there. I think for Seismic, he gets caught right here. CSJ, we were talking about, they were looking for a short engagement distance. Well, now it's only 100 meters. They get their first kill rounding on him, and the rest of QQ's pinned into place. They have to support him from the boardwalk. That allows, like, the CSJ lights to swing in behind, the CSJ Street Crows to come in from here, while still trading with, like, your longer range stuff, and now that's only at 400, so the ER larges are actually trading poorer. And kind of, what's that old phrase, like, find, fix, flank, finish? Something like that, and that's what happened with Q.
Yeah, because ideally, like you were saying, QQ made a great move going back towards that 2 line in the city. I think if they had gone deeper into the city towards C2, towards those broken bridges, as a team, they would have been much better off because, I mean, this is all hindered on, you know, Drunk Canuck maybe getting caught in that river. Even with a 7-man team, I'd still think you're better off because they did trade 1-1 at that point. You know, backing off because those lights, like you said, flanked. That was a huge part for CSJ. Dario getting in there, and you saw some shots Dario got. It was making great shots. Basically, those lights on CSJ put such a good distraction pressure on QQ that they lost their focus fire, they lost their organization. When you lose your organization and focus fire inside of those buildings, it makes it extremely difficult to get out of that situation. That's why it went straight from 1-1, 2-2 to 8-2. You know what I mean? It was 8-2, right? Yeah, it was 8-2.
Yeah, I believe so.
That was it went straight. I mean, it could have been closer. I think if QQ had tried to stay together, focus fire, but yeah, I think they kind of missed their chance and got flanked, like you were saying. It's difficult to defend against, but you know, you gotta, as a team, you gotta keep in mind your open areas towards your teammates. You know, where you could get flanked from. You gotta just think where's our weak side, and you gotta get ready to readjust yourselves and fortify your weak side in a situation like that. QQ kind of missed that opportunity.